Now, over time, if your decorations are getting dirty, the first thing you could do is turn your light off for a while, because the algae will need light to grow. The other thing is you can get catfish, like bristlenose catfish, and they help to eat the algae. You can also get catfish like your Siamese algae eaters that help to eat the blackbeard algae. And then over time, if you notice that your decorations and your plants and all that look pretty how you going, what you want to do is throw them in the sun for a day, then you flip them around, leave them in the sun for a day, and then hit them with a hose, and you'll be surprised how good they come. But once again, it's good to have a range of decorations so you cycle them in and out just to keep it interesting. So this aquarium has a filter in the back. Now, the very most important thing about a filter is that when the filter's pumping, don't worry about it now while I've got these bags in the water, but it's really important when the filter pumps, it's got to be agitating the surface. Because what happens in the filter is there's sponges in the filter. So the water sucks in to the sponge, the bacteria grows on the sponge, and the bacteria is going to break the waste from the fish down, and the bacteria is going to suck oxygen out of the water. So when the water comes back into the tank, we want to agitate the water so the oxygen can go back in. Otherwise, what's called your redox potential will go down. So if your filter is pumping under the water, it actually becomes less effective, because over time you grow more bacteria sucks the oxygen out of the water, the fish are sucking the oxygen out of the water, so you create a spiral that actually goes down because the redox potential of the water falls. On the other hand, if you've got good agitation and then the CO2 can gas off, then your redox should remain high, and therefore your filter will be very effective. Now, in this case, because we're concerned about this tank ending up being overpopulated, we're going to add a second filter, because you can't have too much filtration. So in this case, we'll have a filter in each corner, and that's going to allow us to have more fish. Because the things that govern the quality or health of your fish is, number one, water quality. So if you bring us a water sample down, then we can check on that. And then 50% water quality and 50% food quality. So the food that you buy is 50% of fish keeping. The main food I want fed to this tank is Spectrum's probiotics, because it's a very clean food and it's very healthy and it's made from actual aquatic ingredients, and it's got a probiotic bacteria in it, which means when the fish poo, the bacteria in the poo physically eats the poo. So the main food I want this fish tank fed is Spectrum probiotic. And when you feed your fish, you feed them not for the first 2 days anytime you get new fish. If you do anything big with your tank, it's also good not to feed for a couple of days. And then when you feed, you put a tiny little bit of food in, and you want it all gone in 30 seconds. And you want to do that about 5 times a week, so not every day. But you do have to watch the belly of the fish, because if you see the belly of the fish being, if you look at where the bottom of the gill plate is to the anus, if that's going up, that's bad. That means that you're not feeding them enough and they're becoming malnutrient. But at the same time, you don't want like a huge belly either. So if they've just got a little bit of a belly, that's great. And the main thing I'd recommend that you do is, on a semi-regular basis, bring a little video and a sample of water down to the shop, and then we can look at your fish and we can comment if they're fat or thin enough. Something else to be aware of with aquariums too is you need to understand where your water level is, because in this aquarium, for some reason, there's a massive big hole at the back. Like most aquariums would have a smaller one, but you just got to remember that when you overflow the tank, it'll overflow from there. So it's just something to be aware of. This isn't a brand that I've really ever played with before, but it is what it is. And so we've got the filter pumping nicely in there. And the other thing you could do at some stage if you wanted to is put a background on the back of the tank. So there's all sorts of picture backgrounds that just make the aquarium look a little bit more finished, depending on your opinion. So we've now got 2 filters running. So we've got the AquaL ASAP, which is pouring water in like that. And really the key is to have this as high as you can, because we really want that pouring in and creating oxygen. Then we've just added the Pat Mini filter here, and that's shooting water across there. Now what we're wanting is this agitation. So you can see this aquarium here, the whole top is agitated. And that means we're gonna have very good oxygen levels, because it's all about surface tension. Now, if we don't have good agitation, then the surface tension will be high, And if your surface tension is high, the gas will not exchange. If your surface tension is low, therefore well broken, then the gas will exchange very well. Because if you don't allow good surface agitation, then your oxygen level will go down, your redox potential will go down, and your CO2 level will go up. And the CO2 will make your water acidic, and your CO2 will make you get more algae. So now the filter is running. If we notice the filter reducing its flow, that means the filter needs cleaning. So the way we clean this filter is we just pull the sponge off, we remove some water from the aquarium, and then you rinse the sponge in water from the fish tank and then throw that out, just like how you wash your balls. And then inside this filter is also a sponge. So you take that out, you pull the sponge out, you clean it in water from the fish tank, and then you put it back in. So the key is to nurture your good bacteria. So the enemy of good bacteria is lack of oxygen and chlorine. So we don't want to go washing any of these filters with chlorinated tap water, because the chlorinated tap water will kill off the good bacteria that keeps our fish alive, and then we might lose our fish. Now the other thing is, inside every single filter is going to be an impeller. So if you pull the filter apart and you find a little impeller in there, pull it out, give the housing a clean, give the magnet a clean, give the impeller a clean, and if you did that once a year, typically I'd be proud of you. If it's pumping all good, you've got nothing to worry about. If over time it reduces how well it's pumping, then you need to give your filter a clean, and then even give your impeller a clean every now and then. These fish are settling in nicely now. Now, as far as gravel is concerned, if there's not live plants in the tank, I really only want a very thin layer of gravel. So this is excellent. If you did want live plants in the tank, we do have to put a thicker layer of gravel in, because we need enough gravel to anchor those plants. Otherwise the plants are just going to float all around the place. And remembering that there are plants like Anubias and rock fern and so forth that actually don't need to be rooted, because they will just grow onto driftwood or rocks or whatever. They're all enjoying their life.